and we look forward to speaking with you. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat box and we will be happy to answer them along the way. And we do have some dedicated Q&A time at the end of our presentation. With that, I am delighted to hand over to Ibrahim, who will take you through this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Katie, for this wonderful introduction as always. So I'd like to start off this presentation by giving you a quick recap about our first webinar, which was about how Meta is simplifying travel in the Middle East. Meta provides a solution to a complexity of planning trips to the Middle East, offering a vetted network of local DMCs throughout the region, a ready-made selection of multi-country tours, single country tours, a dedicated trip design team to help you tailor to all your needs, and trip coordinators for seamless logistics. With a focus on sustainability, we don't only offer a hassle-free solution, but a responsible one as well. So the Middle East, of course, offers a blend of ancient and modern attractions, warm hospitality, significant religious sites. The region witnessed a remarkable recovery in tourism, surpassing our 2019 numbers by 20%. And this is from the period from January to July 2023. To put this into perspective, all other countries are still below their recovery point for their 2019 number. Of course, this is a testament to the growing high demand for travel to the Middle East. And of course, with the current situation, we hope that the temporary turbulence that is happening in the region ends soon for the good of everyone, of course, so we can continue this road to success and to growth. Of course, while saying that, planning multi-country tours to the Middle East can be a very complex process involving contacting multiple DMCs, receiving multiple quotations, different itineraries, organizing the logistics, different payment systems and payment terms. This complexity can be very time-consuming and overwhelming for you. And this is where Meta steps in. We aim to simplify the process of multi-country tours by offering the following. We have a vetted network of DMCs. So Meta provides a carefully curated network of local destination management companies, ensuring reliability and high quality throughout the whole region. Of course, as I said, we have a selection of multi-country tours, so it's very easy for you to visit our website and just check all the tour ideas that help you and inspire your clients for ideas how they want to explore the Middle East as a destination. And of course, with the seamless logistics, we have the dedicated coordinating team. They coordinate between the different DMCs to make sure that the trip for your clients is gone through seamlessly. And of course, last but definitely not least, the seamless payment process. So instead of paying different DMCs with the different payment charges and the ways, this of course is all done through one singular point. And at the heart of Meta, we prioritize sustainability and responsible tourism. This starts with carbon reduction in mind. So while planning the trip, we make sure that we're using the most eco-friendly, benefiting the locals, and regarding transportation and accommodation as well. And after that, we offset the unavoidable emissions, although this is not our main point when it comes to sustainability, but we believe it's a necessary one. We offset the unavoidable emissions through something called the economy of love, which helps 45,000 local farmers in Egypt, right? So this is not only a good cause for the environment, but also helps locals in a sustainable way, okay? To give you a little bit of background about Saudi Arabia. Oh, sorry, I think I skipped a couple of slides. Let me go back. Here we go. And yes, so regarding Saudi Arabia and our DMCs there, Saudi Arabia being the largest country in the Middle East poses a significant challenge for a single DMC to handle the entirety of it comprehensively. And this is why we've entrusted 2 DMC members, not one, to oversee the different parts of this incredible destinations, starting with Masarak Travel. This is responsible for the Western region, although of course leisure tourism in Saudi Arabia is relatively new. Masarak's owner have been operating religious tours for more than 20 years, so they already have a good infrastructure when it comes to tourism. And 365, of course, Adventure manages the Eastern region. They originated in Qatar in 2016. 365 Adventure expanded to become Meta's member in Qatar, the UAE, and of course the western part of Saudi Arabia, working alongside Masarak to handle this amazing destination. And I'd like to hand off the presentation to Mr. Miraj.
Sorry, I've just asked him to unmute. But Miraj, can you please unmute your...
Yeah.
There we go.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, sorry for that. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Miraj Mohammed Quraish. I was born in Qatar, grew up in Qatar as well, and I had this passion for the travel in the in the region. And after the World Cup, of course, I saw an opportunity to grow to other regions. And personally, I've moved to Riyadh, which is the capital. And we're going to talk about geography and the demographic overview about Saudi. First of all, Saudi, as Ibrahim mentioned, is the biggest Middle Eastern country by the land size, with having some sources saying 36 million population, 36 million people as in population, or about 40 million. The majority lives in Riyadh, which is about 10 million or more or less. The highest number of young people that are also residing in the country. Basically, they have a very, very strong force of young people that are coping up with this new change the new leadership has brought to the vision. And about the climate, contrary to the belief, Saudi experiences 4 distinct weather or seasons. It includes cold, cooler mountains area during summer, and northern region often witnessing snow in winter. The societal transformation, while traditions hold significance, Saudi Arabia has laid back its rules. Earlier, they were, every woman was supposed to be covered, but now they have laid back those rules, allowing a more normal accepting visitors from outside. However, it's nice to blend into the culture and perhaps maybe dress like one and act like one as well, to get a better idea of their culture as well. The youth population, which is, I mentioned earlier as well, about 70% of Saudi Arabia population is under 35 years old. The country is bustling with young, ambitious individuals who are enthusiastic about shaping the future and the future of the country as well. Urban concentration and language diversity, despite being divided into 13 provinces, 80% of Saudi resides in the 10 major urban centers, including Riyadh, Jeddah, Mecca, Medina, and others. Arabic is the official languages, while all the boards are in bilingual languages. You have pretty much everything is in English and Arabic. Arabic is widely spoken, but English is also accepted very normally. Financial facilities. The national currency is the Saudi Riyal, which is about 3.75 to the US dollars. The kingdom has widespread ATM availability. Major credit cards like Visa, MasterCard, American Express are accepted. Moreover, digital payment methods such as Apple Pay are increasingly adopted by various businesses. Emphasis on hospitality. Hospitality is a cornerstone of Saudi culture, reflecting the warm and the welcoming nature of its people. Visitors are ensured a memorable and hospitable experience during their stay. You will definitely feel like home when you visit Saudi. The locals are very, very accepting, and they are very excited to see new faces in the country, I would say. The visa system for leisure travel has been all automated. About 49 centers are by Saudi Visa Travel Services have been created. There are more than 49. 49 is the country, but however, you can always just apply for the e-visa and it comes in less than 30 minutes, sometimes in a minute, by refreshing the page as well. The the list of the countries that are eligible are 49 countries. You have North America, Canada, USA, um, uh, and then in Europe you have 33 countries. In Asia you have countries like Brunei, China, Japan, South Korea, amongst others. Oceania you have Australia, New Zealand. And for the ones that can't apply, we still have services. I don't think it's a topic of discussion on this webinar. The visa costs roughly around $142, and it's inclusive of a full health insurance during the visitor stays in Saudi Arabia as well. The payments can all be done online, or we could also arrange for you as Meta, as when I speak Meta, yeah. I would like to hand it over to Mr. Khalid for the next slide. Thank you so much.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Khalid. I'm one of the founders of Meta. And thank you, Miraj, for this really great information. Now it's my turn to speak about the geography of Saudi Arabia. For me, geography, you see this big country, Saudi Arabia. Only a few years ago, the tourism was not open yet. If you look to the map, you can see from the right-hand side of Saudi Arabia, you can see there's United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar. They're all into tourism for many years now, so they are really touristic countries. From the other side, you see Egypt, Jordan, and Israel. Also, they count very much in tourism. So the Saudi Arabia, it was the only missing part. I mean, like the missing part of the puzzle. So now, after Saudi Arabia open tourism, it's like open so many possibilities of connecting these countries together with Saudi Arabia. So you can just cross from Jordan, as you can see in the map here. There is two main borders. You can connect always Jordan with Saudi Arabia through Dorra, which is a border at the Aqaba border, or Mudawara, which is about 100 kilometers from Wadi Rum, and another 100 kilometers to another city inside Saudi Arabia called Tabuk. Next country with connecting borders with Saudi Arabia is Bahrain through King Fahd Causeway. And this connection, about 4 or 5 hours driving from Riyadh to Panama. Next country with connecting with Saudi Arabia is Qatar, as well through the Salwa border. The following one, you can see the connecting Saudi Arabia with United Arab Emirates. You can either drive all the way from Riyadh or from Al Hufuf to Al Ghawaspa border. Then we have the border with Oman through the Rob al Khali or the Empty Quarter borders. As well, you can connect Saudi Arabia via seaports in Egypt to Sharm el-Sheikh or to Port Said, Suez, or Safaga, board by sea cruises. Now, sea cruises are very popular in the Red Sea, and we have received many requests for sea cruises. People are traveling in the Red Sea, and then they want to visit sites in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, or Egypt. Next. Now it's I hand this to Miraj.
So
Miraj?
we're talking about, yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Khalid, for handing me over again. We're talking about four major airports. Um, all of them are quite big, especially the one in Jeddah and Riyadh. So if we start from our right side, which is close to Bahrain, it's King Fahd International Airport. That's where Aramco's base is as well. That's the eastern side of the country. Um, it's the third, you can call it the third or the fourth largest city in the kingdom. The second border would be in the middle, which is in the capital called King Khalid International Airport. It's about uh, yeah, it's about 25 kilometers away from the city. It's in the outskirts, in the north of the city. Then we have in Medina, which is a holy city as well, an airport called Prince Mohammed bin Abdulaziz International Airport. All of them have major connectivity around across all airlines and around the world. The fourth one on the most eastern side, which is connected also to the Red Sea, is called King Abdulaziz International Airport as well. It's also about 20 kilometers from the city, and it's in the north of the city as well. Um, the airlines that are mentioned are Saudi Arabia Airline, which is a more higher end airline, with another addition that is Riyadh Air, is going to focus on point to point destination. And also, it's going to be a high end airline as well, with a very beautiful look, if you may have already seen something about it. Then it has two airlines that are low cost carrier, Flyadeal and Flynas, with connectivity to mainly not long haul, but like short hauls, which are predominantly in the Eastern European side and in the Asian side as well. I think we can go to the transportation side. So the kingdom is connected by major highways. Let's start with the trains. The only connectivity that doesn't exist as of now is from the west to the east, mainly because the terrain is very, very diverse. That is full of mountains and of course sand everywhere as well. The Northern Line, these are all domestic for information purpose. The capital is connected with the eastern two cities, Hafuf. There's a small city in the middle, which is Bukaik, and Dammam is one of the large cities as well. The Northern Line goes all the way to Qasim, which is a very beautiful province, in my opinion. It's only 3 hours away from the capital, with super amazing archaeological sites and amazing local hospitality as well. And we go to Hail, which is one of the UNESCO sites as well. And then we go Jove, all the way to Qurayat, which is bordered with Jordan. On the western side, we have the connectivity all the way from one holy city to another holy city, which is so Al Medina is the second holy city. It's about 2 to 2.5 hours of train ride, more than 450 kilometers. But because of the high speed train, you can be there in 2 to 2.5 hours in the second large city of Saudi Arabia. There's also King Abdullah Economic City in the middle, which is being built. It's something. It comes on the way. We usually don't go down there, and it connects all the way with Mecca, which is the most holy city of the Muslim population, you can call it. And all right, I think we can go for the car hires. I'm sorry, yeah, Ibrahim, I confused you. And the country is built on cars, I would say. So cars are available everywhere. There are rent-a-cars available. Technology-wise, they are quite ahead in the game, I would say. They're following the footsteps of UAE, which is a very big player in the market. Everything is quite easily done. Then there are limousine services, which also happen to have all sort of vehicles that are very much in demand in the world. You're talking about a sedan to all the way to a 50 seats, very, very luxury bus. Anything in middle is available and available to hire as well. The routes in Saudi are very, very long. It's the largest city. It's something to consider. If you think that Jeddah is close to Riyadh, no, Jeddah is 1,000 kilometers from Riyadh, and quite everything you can say is only in hundreds of kilometers. So, doing a stopover in Saudi is never the best idea. I would recommend always to go for longer holidays, and you will not regret it. But instead, enjoy it and probably want to go again as well. Then I would like to hand over to Mr. Khalid again, and he may take it.
Hello, it's me again. About Saudi Arabia, I think our sample tours are concentrated on the west part, as I had been speaking earlier with one of our delegates, that Saudi Arabia is so big. So we just, as a part one, we decided to concentrate on the west part from Riyadh to Tabuk. Yes. As you can see here in the map, we have Riyadh. If we have like 4 to 5 days, then the best itinerary will be to arrive Riyadh and departure from Jeddah. So people will arrive in Riyadh one day, full day highlights of the city, and then fly all the way to Tabuk. I think it's in the near the border with Jordan, and then from Tabuk drive about 400 kilometers to Alola. On the way, visit Taima Oasis, and then stay 1 or 2 nights in Alola, and then from Alola by car to to Medina, and from Medina by train to Jeddah, and then from Jeddah they can fly back home. This is if we have the time of the duration is between 4 to 5 nights. If we have the time to plan the trip about 8 days, then again we can start from one point, departure from another. We can start from Jeddah and departure from Riyadh, or vice versa. So if we arrive in Riyadh, then we have a better option. We can drive after visiting the highlights of Riyadh, then drive to Budaira, and then from there to Ha'il, from Ha'il to Juba, and then from Juba to Alola. From Alola, we can again return to Medina, and from Medina to Jeddah, and then fly back from Jeddah. This is the 7 to 8 nights tour. Next. Now,
hello everyone. So I'd like to introduce to you our guest speaker today. Her name is Sheila Russell. She's the founder of Sands in Time, an online platform dedicated to capturing the beauty of Saudi Arabia. Sheila is accomplished in photography and storyteller who has developed a distinctive and engaging style for documenting the history, culture, and natural beauty of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for over 6 years. Her work includes documenting archaeological sites in Al-Ula and collaborating with outlets such as CNN. Sheila will be providing us with an overview of the top attraction in Saudi Arabia. Please feel free later on to explore her website, sandsintime.com, for a deeper dive into the wonders of Saudi Arabia. I'm sure you'll not be disappointed.
Hello, everybody. As I said, my name's Sheila, and I moved to Saudi Arabia in 2017, so well before women were allowed to drive and tour tourism started. As soon as I was allowed to have my license, I was on the road and traveling around the country. So that's one question answered. Yes, women can hire cars and women can drive on the roads. that's not a problem. In fact, they're welcomed. Life has changed, and it's a wonderful place to travel. But as the other speakers have said, it's long distances. So if you're thinking about going in cars, just consider that it is a long way to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to explain a little bit about some of the historical side of things and what there is to see there. There are masses and masses of things to cover, so I'm only going to dip in and really give a little bit of a taste of some of these things. So we're going to start with Riyadh, obviously the capital. If you're going to go to Riyadh, some of the main things you'd want to see are the historical side of things. So think something like Masarak Fort, where Ibn Saud came back in 1902 and he took Masarak Fort from the Rashidi family, and that was the start of his return. And then fast forward to 1932 when it became Saudi Arabia. So it took 30 years for him to actually take control of the whole of what is now the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But also we've got Diriyah. Now, Diriyah is the birthplace of Saudi Arabia, UNESCO World Heritage Site. Saudi Arabia has 7 World Heritage Sites, and there's that one in Riyadh. There's masses and masses of things to do. So the photograph you can see there, we've got the Kingdom Tower, looks a little bit like a sort of bottle opener at the end. Along the top there, you've got the sky thing. You could actually go up into the top and actually walk and actually see what Riyadh is like at night time, because you have a real juxtaposition from mud villages to palaces to the modern hustle and bustle of the economic city. It's a real buzz. It's a big place, a lot to take in. It's a really good place to start and really get you going. Moving on to Shega village, well, this is tradition. This really is tradition. So years ago, a lot of houses were built very close together with little passageways between them to allow for shade, because obviously it gets very hot there. So people could move between the houses whilst keeping the sun off their heads. It's a lovely place. You can wander through there. There's a museum. There's other places to see what houses were like. You can go into the mosque, etc., etc. So Shega from Riyadh, it's a real contrast, really get you into the real the culture and the history of the area. Moving forward then up into Hail. Now Hail is one of my favorite places. It's really, really lovely traditional area. And we also have a Jubba, which is part of another World Heritage Site. So, and it's actually 2 parts. There's Jubba and then Shuwaimas. So the photograph there are some of the camels there. The rock drawings in Saudi Arabia are incredible. They are all over the place. I took that one there in the spring because when the flowers then. So we're talking about the landscape and the sort of the weather a little bit earlier. Saudi Arabia does have it all, and it does change. So we don't have set patterns. In some countries, you know, if you go between certain months, you'll get rain, etc. Saudi Arabia, it can happen at all sort of times. I know that in Taif last week, we had hailstones as big as golf balls. And then, you know, it can change. So one thing to be prepared when you're traveling, just to sort of understand that it can change. And when rain comes in Saudi Arabia, it comes hard and fast, and sometimes you can get sort of local flash flooding sort of thing. So it's best not to travel in low-lying areas and wadis and that sort of stuff when there is heavy rain. But I said both of those places, Hail and Jubba, any of those areas. I mean, there's so many different places that I'm sure that the teams will be able to take you to. And moving on from there, of course, Alula. Now then, Alula, where we have Hegra, which is the first UNESCO World Heritage Site. This year is the most famous, iconic symbol, I think, of Saudi Arabia and Alula. So this is some people call it the Lonely Tomb, but there are over 120 different tombs. And on the tour to Hegra, you'll get to see a lot of them. One of my favorite ones, there's a massive, that's one tomb and one rock, but there's one other massive big rock outlook, which has actually got banat. So it's actually made by lots of females, and you can see they've got inscriptions saying who they would have been for. You can go inside one of them as well, and they'll explain then the guides what it's like. There's also a very narrow section going the Duan. It's a little bit like in Jordan. So it's got everything, because the Nabateans were there after the Didanians and Didanites and Lithians. They're a little bit further actually in Alula, the actual main town itself, because this is actually a little bit further north, because of the whole area is a big living museum. It's huge. It's got Maraya. The Maraya is Arabic for mirror, so the largest mirrored building in the world, and that's a spectacular place as well. And they have concerts and different things there, and there's a restaurant. The old town, it's on the UNESCO World Heritage Site for the I think it's the best tourism village, I think it is. Saudi Arabia keeps getting accolades because there's so much there and they're doing so much to preserve it. Moving on from Alula, I mean, there's so many different places there. You can go down to, I'm not going to jump to the first slide is for Medina. But the place you'd not tend to go before that would actually be Khaybar or even Tamar. I'm not quite sure which order you do it. I'll do Khaybar to start with. Khaybar Oasis is a volcanic area. You have massive big volcanoes. And then when the water comes off the ground, it falls very low down. So it allows all the water to come up into these amazing springs. So Khaybar has got masses and masses of springs. So water is life in the oasis, which means then that over the years, people have been able to grow crops and dates. So it's a lovely place, and it's been activated by the Royal Commission. So the same people that look after Lula, they are in control of Khaybar as well. So, and a visit there during the winter months when it's cooler is lovely. It's really, really lovely, and they've lots of things happening there. Khaybar is also very famous for lots of volcanoes. It's got the black and white volcanoes, and I don't know whether that might be something that you might add on to some of your trips at some stage in the future. The spectacular white volcano, Al Baida, is one of my favorite, and you can see on the website when I was walking alongside of it, it's huge, ginormous, it's really, really big. I'm actually going to jump to Tamar now. So Tamar is another one of the main oases. It's a lot further north. Now Tamar, the first records of Tamar come from 8th century BC. So if we think about the Assyrian kingdoms, or maybe Babylon, maybe some of you might know about Babylon. So an Assyrian governor is recorded in cuneiform texts. So cuneiform texts are the little lines where they did the writing thousands of years ago, and it records a caravan of traders from Tamar and Saba. Now Saba is in the southern Arabian kingdom, so in what is now Yemen. So we know that 2,800 years ago, they were traveling with incense and traded goods, spices, etc., using camels all the way up through Arabia, coming up then through Tamar, and then going up into Mesopotamia, and that's where they caught them. So we know that this area was used as trade routes on the incense road in a phenomenal way. A little bit later than that, just to give a little bit of point of history, Nabonidus is the last Babylonian king. So we know that Babylonian Empire, so 552 BC, so we're talking 2,500 years ago, he came to the area and took 6 oases. So we know it's recorded that he took and conquered 6 oases in the area, and he stayed in the area for 10 years. It's a bit of a mystery why. We think it's something to do with the religious context, maybe worshipping a moon god, but that's still up for discussion. But this area really was the highlight. I mean, people went from oasis to oasis because obviously they needed to be where there's water. And that's another reason why we will all go to these places where we've got the layers of history, and that's where the rock drawings, people have given us little clues about what life was like, and you can go to them, you can dig into lots of different layers. In a lot of the areas as well, we've also got Neolithic and Bronze Age tombs. There's big shapes, which are massive. You can't really see them very much from the ground, but from the air, they look mustatil, which are the big rectangles, and then you have keyholes, etc. And they're finding lots of evidence to show that the populations, they made these, he created these massive shapes, which would have been seen from the air. We think maybe that they were there as a prayer to the god or the gods from above. And we're talking sort of 7,000 years ago. So they're really very old. The photograph for Tabuk is actually, I think actually that's, I'm not quite sure of those, but it may even be more down towards Modi Disa, but I don't know whether it goes, as I said, the area's got so much there. Tabuk is on one of the trading routes, just north of Tamar. And a very good point to actually, if you're going further up north, to get to Jordan. Again, we've got Ottoman castles. It was where the railway went through. There's masses and masses up in that area too. And finally, then going down to on the pictures we've got here to Medina, one of my favorite places. It's the second most holiest place in Islam. Up until recently, non-Muslims were not allowed anywhere near Medina. When you drove around it, you'd have to go around the ring road and weren't allowed into the Haram area. That's all changed. There's only now one place that non-Muslims are not allowed to go in, and that's the Prophet's Mosque. However, you can go around the outside edge of it and you can look in, and they have these amazing sunshades. It's a very, very special place. Medina, for me, it's a very calm, very spiritual place. It's a place where of all the places to go, that's the place to be a little bit more cognizant of what you wear, tone it down, a little bit more covered. They're wonderful people in Medina. The nicest, most friendliest people in the whole of the kingdom come from Medina. But there's lots there. We have an Ottoman railway station there from the Hijaz Railway, which is a museum. There's masses and masses of different mosques. they are opening their arms. There's a lot to learn in that area. So Medina is definitely a lovely place to go. And because it's only open to non-Muslims recently, not many people in the world have actually been there. So definitely a place to enjoy being there. But it's a very different feel to all the other places. Can we have on the next slide, please? So, right. So I'm gonna jump to Taif. Taif is in the mountains and it's about 2.5 hours from Jeddah. And if there's time within the schedule, it's most definitely a place to visit. The photograph there is Ali Al-Shukh, and he's one of the rose growers. And there are masses and masses of millions and millions and millions of roses grown every year up in Taif, because roses grow great at high altitude. And then they're distilled into rose oil, which is used in perfumes around the world, and rose water. And also, it's a little interesting fact that the rose oil is used with Zamzam water to clean the inside of the Kaaba in Mecca. So in Mecca, where is the center of Islam, where people go for to go around the Kaaba being the amazing big the black shape inside in Mecca, and they walk around. So once a year, they clean it inside, and they use Zamzam water and rose oil from Taif. Taif, as I said, it's in the mountains. When you travel there, there's 2 main roads up, and the spectacular mountain roads. It's an unexpected pleasure. The temperature is always 10 degrees cooler up in Taif. I've traveled the roads many times, and it's spectacular. When you get to the top, you'll see the baboons. There's lots of baboons there. And if you're there during the winter time, during January, February, March, April, that's the best time to be there. So you'll have the almond trees, the white blossoms, and then the apricot trees come into blossom again a little bit later. So something that you wouldn't expect. And then the roses. So it's a real treat. And there's lots of historic buildings. It's the unofficial capital of Saudi, because it's been higher and it's much cooler. People have traditionally gone there during the summer months. So, and there's things all year round up there, but it is a lovely place to go. So we'll finish off with Jeddah. And Jeddah, my home for many years. I now split my time between the UK and Saudi, and I go back to Jeddah quite often, very often. This photograph here is actually Wagh Shafi, and it's actually next to Shafi Mosque, the oldest mosque in Jeddah. Jeddah UNESCO World Heritage Site. This building here with the wooden windows, these are called Roshan, and all these they're called tower houses. And the tower houses became very popular after the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869. Jeddah really saw it flourished. So that's when the millionaires, that's when the traders, etc., because people were coming into Jeddah by the sea to go to Mecca. So it's a trading port. So these tower houses are incredible. And we've got these here, this turquoise blue, turquoise green. They're all colors. And then below them, then we have the shops. There's the souks. There's the Sif House. There's many houses that you can go inside to have a look. But it really is the cosmopolitan side of the kingdom. Traditionally, Riyadh was very much the traditional side, but Jeddah has always been the open place where lots and lots of internationals have always come there, and lots of different foods. Both cities are very modern now. So even though you've got a photograph here of Jeddah with the traditional side, we've also got lots of the modern sides as well, but also to the advantage of being on the coast. So you have the Jeddah Corniche, the big sign. So a lot of tourists like to make their mark and actually visit there as well. And for diving and swimming like that. So if there's any time to be able to do that. So you're actually on the coast, the coastal breeze. Temperature wise, Jeddah is hot and humid all year round. During the winter months, it might get down to 20 degrees centigrade overnight. But below that, you really won't get much lower than that. It obviously is much cooler than the summer months, but the humidity is something that you really need to consider. It's very, very humid. Riyadh, however, is much dry heat. It's a dry heat, so it gets hotter in the summer, but it's drier and cooler in the wintertime. So in the wintertime during Riyadh, you'll need to have a jumper and sweaters and some other sort of layers, because it can get down to sort of 10 degrees in Riyadh during the winter months. But in the summer months, I mean, I've been there when it's been 50 degrees. But you don't really want to be outside in July, August time when it's sort of 50 degrees. It's not pleasant. But during the winter months and either side of that, it's a lovely place to be. Saudi Arabia has so many different elements and so many different sides of it. So please do have a look on the website. And if you have any questions at the end, we'll try to answer them. it's an incredible place, and if you can come and visit it, especially now before it changes too quickly, because it is the rate of change in Saudi Arabia is immense. This building work, this development, the young population are embracing it and they're loving the changes. So I think I'll stop there, otherwise I could keep talking about all the different historical stuff all the time.
Thank you, Sheila. That was incredible. I just wanted to clarify for everyone listening that 50 degrees is actually Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit is pretty cold in 50 degrees, but that's 50 degrees Celsius. So that's probably 120, 130 Fahrenheit. So very hot. But I will gladly pass off again to Ibrahim to moderate our session if he is there. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, I'm here, Katie. Now we'll thank you so much, of course, Sheila, for this amazing presentation. As I told you guys, this is just a small nugget. If you visit her website, she has a truly treasure trove of blogs and things that you can read regarding Saudi. Okay, so with that being said, thank you again, Sheila.
There's just one other thing as well. There's the Instagram account as well, Saudi Travel Notes, what I've been doing for years. In that, there's highlights, and there's a lot of information with journeys. So I filmed a lot of things in there, so people can get an insight of what it's like for traveling through the kingdom. On the highlights.
Can you please drop that Instagram handle in the chat, please, so that everyone can follow you?
Okay, yeah, I can put that there.
Thank you. Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
There'll be a lot more photos and information on the Instagram, so you can see a bit more images and a little bit more of what's going on in the area, and you will see a lot more rather than just one picture. Thank you.
Absolutely, and if you can also share the links to her website and Instagram, that would be great. I'll pass it over to Mr. Khaled.
Thank you, Sheila, for all this nice, beautiful information. Now it's about the combined tours. Actually, having said that Saudi Arabia, it's in the middle of the many touristic countries, it's give us opportunity to plan different multi-country tours. Right. So one of the trip we can do is we can start from Riyadh and then departure from Jordan. How we can do that? Arrive in Riyadh, then stay 2 nights in Riyadh, and then drive to Ushaigar Heritage Village, and then spend the night in Buraida. Then from Buraida to Ha'il, then spend the night in Ha'il. Then from Ha'il to Juba. From Juba, we drive all the way to Al-Ula, stay the 2 nights in Al-Ula, visit Al-Ula, and then to Tayma Village, Tayma Oasis, and then from Tayma, we drive to Tabuk. From Tabuk, we spend a night in Tabuk before we head to the border of Mudawara, which is only 100 kilometers from Tabuk. Then from Tabuk to the border to Wadi Rum is only another 100 kilometers. We spend a night in Wadi Rum, and then next day we drive to Betra, spend the night in Betra, then to Karak to the Dead Sea, from Dead Sea to Amman, and then from Amman we can fly out of Amman. This multi-country two center, it can be from 12 to 15 days. It depends on the customer available time. Next multi-country tour we can do is Saudi Arabia and Egypt. We can start again in Riyadh, and then from Riyadh by train, in this case, to Ha'il, and then from Ha'il to Juba again, and then from Juba to Al-Ula, from Al-Ula again to Tayma, and then Tayma to Tabuk. From Tabuk, there is daily flight to Cairo. So we can connect, in this case, we can connect Egypt with Saudi Arabia through the flight from Tabuk to Cairo, which is only about an hour. And then from Cairo, we can fly to Aswan, Abu Simbel, then take the night cruise from Aswan to Luxor, and then from Luxor back to Cairo, and then from Cairo back home. This is the second multi-country tour we can do, which is also can be between 12 and 15 days. The third multi-country tour we can start in Qatar with the very good connection of Qatar Airways with the long haul, so it can be easily to fly to Doha, and then from Doha spend a couple of days, two full day tour, and then drive from Doha to Manama in Bahrain, which is only about 4 hours. Then from Bahrain to Riyadh. Then from Riyadh, spend a couple of days in Riyadh, and then again to Ha'il. Then again, same way to Juba, Al Ola. But in this case, we instead of going to Tabuk, we go to Medina. In our way to Medina, we stop at Khyber, which Sheila explained about it, beautiful oasis. Then from Medina to Jeddah, and then from Jeddah, fly back home. Also, this trip can be done between 14 to 18 days. It depends how long you want to spend in each city on the way. Conclusion.
All right, Mr. Khalid, thank you very much for this. So, and thank you to Mr. Miraj, to Sheila, to Katie for this amazing presentation. I hope that everybody that joined found it informative and intriguing. And of course, as we said at the beginning, Saudi Arabia is so large and so vast, it's really hard to cover it in just 45 minutes. Maybe we can try to organize another webinar about Saudi Arabia where we go and discuss the parts that we did not discuss this time, okay? But just to recap what we talked about today, we talked about the simplicity about working with Meta and how it simplifies traveling through multi-country tours in the Middle East. The visas, how it's incredibly simple right now with the e-visa. And just to give you some context, not only Saudi Arabia has an e-visa, but right now most of the Middle East does. And it's an extremely simple process, especially to Europe and North American countries. Online, you get it right away. You can do cross-bordering. It's incredibly simple. So border crossing for multi-country tours just changed the game. So not only does it help us decrease the flights, but it also decrease our environmental impact, but also gives us a chance to visit more cities along the way that usually we don't do that, right? And of course, we gave you some sample itineraries. Of course, with the Saudi Arabia opening up, there's unlimited options of multi-country tours. We can cater to your needs. We just very recently did a 54-day itinerary that went through 6 destinations in the Middle East. So of course, the options are unlimited. And last but definitely not least, what we discussed with Sheila and the attractions. Again, please do visit her website. She has amazing insights in the region. And definitely, guys, it has been a pleasure having you guys. With that being said, we'll move to the questions and answers. And also, here's a QR code. If you want to visit our website, you'll also find ideas. You can contact us directly. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. We actually just, the major questions that we have we've answered along the way, but can I ask regarding clothing for women? So when you're walking around Saudi Arabia, shoulders covered to the knee, can we cover off that, so that that's probably the biggest question that we have.
Would you like me to answer that one?
Yeah, please. Thank you, Sheila.
Like anywhere in the world, Saudi Arabia has different places to be in this. So it's a case of judging where you are a little bit. The general rule will be, I think it's supposed to be down to the elbow and then below the knee. But depends. So if you're in somewhere like Medina, you want to be to the wrist and to the floor to be able to be more conservative. If you're in Jeddah and you're walking along the Corniche, people will be in skirts maybe to the knee and then t-shirts or jeans and t-shirts, but you wouldn't wear that if you're in Medina. So you've got to be a little bit conscious like that. Abayas come in all shapes, sizes, fabrics. I always have an abaya with me I don't always wear it depending where I am, and I tend to wear it like a sort of open sort of cloak. It also means if I go somewhere and you move on the tour and you go to somewhere which tends to be a little bit more conservative, and you'll know that by looking at what everyone else is wearing. If you suddenly and you end up in a traditional marketplace where all the other ladies are fully covered, as a woman, I'd want to be a little bit more conservative, be more covered as well. So if you've got an abaya or something, or a long open cloak, you can actually wrap it around you. You can cover up a little bit more, so you can sort of swap and change a little bit. I tend to wear mine like an open dressing gown sort of thing. So I've got it, so I swish around. When you're in Alula, you don't get to see an awful lot of abayas. Some people like that, but again, they're all sort of colours and things. I always say to my friends if they visit in the kingdom, buy one, get one, and use it then as a robe and things. Enjoy it. Enjoy being part of the culture. It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be in jeans with a little t-shirt if I said in Medina, but I would do it in Jeddah, and I would do it in Alula. It depends on the temperature as well. So I hope that answers it. So you're not going to have people coming and tapping on your shoulder or someone shouting at you. Gone are those days. Saudi Arabia is welcoming tourists, and they're more likely to say, welcome to Saudi Arabia, and ask where you're from and want to take you home to give you food and give you gifts. That's the welcome that you'll get. You'll be surprised at how many people just love having people to visit, and they want to tell their stories, they want to know where you're from, etc., etc. Enjoy the experience. It's lovely.
Thank you, Sheila. That was incredible. I love your insight and to give the broader expectation of what it's like to be in Saudi Arabia. For those that are not aware, my husband actually is the North American Trade Director for